Yo, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to another Going Rounds podcast. I'm here with my homie Patrick. He's back. What's up, Patrick?
What's going on, guys? Happy to be back. Happy to go some more rounds.
Yeah, it's been a minute, man. I've been like saying I'm gonna get Patrick on, and then our schedules haven't synced up, or I'm an idiot and I forget, or something stupid happens. So, yeah,
Oh
I'm
yeah,
glad you're back.
happy to be back, man. And in Big E's defense, he's tried to get me on a couple times, and it just hasn't worked with my schedule. But I'm happy to be back. And then I wanted to do this since it's May the 4th, Star Wars Day.
Oh
I bet you guys
shit!
didn't know that I was a Jedi.
A Chingon Jedi too.
Exactly, bro.
That shirt is dope, dude. I like that shit. What's funny is I always have everybody on for like 15 minutes before we do testing and all that stuff. That whole time we were talking, I noticed your hat. I didn't even pay attention to your shirt until just now.
Yep. I gotta put it out there. Gotta let people know a little bit.
Right? Yeah, I know. I always get a kick out of you throw some random shit on Facebook or Instagram sometimes. It's just like funny and off the wall, and I'm like, fucking Patrick.
Yes. Man,
It's
village
hilarious.
idiot.
Yeah. Nah, man, it's entertaining. You keep it fun. I don't ever post shit on Facebook that much anymore. It's like most of the time it's about the podcast. But other shit is just like whatever. I don't know. I think I have my fill of social media and everything else when it comes to being on
Yeah.
the podcast. So
Well, there's a lot of dumb fuckery out there, so it's nice to put something out that's light and keep it funny.
no doubt, man. And I appreciate it. That's for damn sure. So anyway, yeah, Patrick's back. It's been I don't even know how long. It's been some months probably.
Yeah, it's been a little bit of a minute. I remember, I think the last time that I hopped on it was for an event that we ended up we had either watched it before previous and we talked about the results, or we talked about it and then watched the event together because you
Yeah,
guys ended up coming in town.
right. That's right. Yeah, that was a while back too. So now
Yeah.
that's cool. And sounds like you've been just as busy as me with work and everything else from what we were talking about before. So I know how it goes. And Clark was bugging me saying, "Hey, we need to get Patrick on and do all three of us." And now that fool is just too busy. And every time I ask him to be on, he's like, "I'm going out of town," or I can't do it this day." And
Yeah. Well, I gotta admit, I was sweating Clark a little bit because I felt like he was stealing my thunder. But I think in my defense, from what I've seen, I'm still a couple of your most watched videos. So
oh yeah.
if I could keep that record going, I'll appreciate that.
Yeah, and I'm horrible at, especially when I'm busy with work and stuff. I'm horrible at trying to get like some kind of promo out beforehand. Clark is on my ass all the time, telling me, "Hey, are you gonna post anything so I can repost it?" And I'm like, I can't bitch at him because he's right. I should be posting something ahead of time,
Hey, that
but
that's that's a real friend though. It's got
it
your back.
is, it is, and he wants people to know that he's on. So
Exactly.
we we
Exactly.
know we know how
It's
Clark
a
is, and
win-win.
so does he. Exactly. So yeah, no, it's cool though. We'll have to get one going where it's all three of us. That'd be dope.
Absolutely. And
Because
hey, shout out to Clark, man. Haven't
yeah,
seen you in a minute either, but I know you're doing good. And shout out, man.
yeah, definitely. And he's he's a loyal friend, and he's always hyping me up and stuff. So I appreciate that. And then he comes on here, and he's a good guest. Everybody's like, "You and Clark have good chemistry." Some people think that me and him do this all the time together. They're like, "Yeah, I've seen you in Clark's podcast." I'm like, "What?" I have so many where it's just me. I'm like, "Okay, I guess you've only seen the ones with Clark. That's fine. I don't care. He's my friend, and I love him, so I'm glad." Just like if anybody said that about me and you, I'd be like, "Hell yeah, Patrick is
Exactly.
entertaining."
Yeah.
So, and he knows his shit. Like that's one thing. You got a little edge on Clark when it comes to the actual knowledge, but he does a damn good job of researching and knowing, what's good and bad. And he's learned even more since he's been on. So, uh, but I fucked up, and I'm probably gonna do it somewhere in the middle here. I am gonna have a watch party podcast this weekend on Saturday. I know it's late notice and shit. If for some reason you're available, you can jump on. But otherwise, Clark said he's gonna be on. I'm just kind of
Cool.
doing it on a whim because I don't know. It seems like everybody here is just too busy all the time. Like I try to schedule stuff way ahead, and people still don't make it. And your brother's a flake, so
Oh yeah, I know. Yeah, friggin' I just called him this week. He friggin' sent me straight to voicemail and never called me back. So
he's he's too busy with the woman now.
Oh yeah,
And I don't care if he
yeah.
hears this. This fucker, I tell him all the time. But he tried to find us at the
I
fair.
still haven't met this one, so I got to make it down there to first of all give him some fresh shit, and then yeah, meet her so
Yeah.
we can see if everyone approves.
She's cool. I mean, she went to Country Thunder with us and stuff, and she mixed in well. So, but you know, he's real caught up. So, hopefully, I don't even think he watches this honestly. So I'll talk as much shit as I want because he's always
Good.
he sees it on Facebook and he likes the promos and stuff, but I don't know that he really goes and watches.
Yeah.
So,
Sweater ass
and
bitch.
yep, and if he does, then we'll see if he comes back and talks shit.
You know,
Anyway.
he's too busy shopping at Baby Gap to be watching anything.
He's stocking up for next winter.
Exactly.
No, but anyway, yeah, I do have a little promo thing. I'll probably download it here in a minute and make it ready for the end of the podcast. But I do want to say it up top. 7 p.m. Arizona time, Watch Party Podcast. Past guest Clark, who we've been talking about, will be on. Anybody else that normally jumps on can jump on. The invite's out to you always. If you see it's coming on, you feel free to jump on. I think my
Awesome.
brother-in-law is
Cool.
gonna come on, and maybe one of the guys from Rumble podcast will be on probably. But that's about it. I mean, even if I do some of these by myself, I don't care. I kind of like reacting in the moment, and it's nice to have someone there to be able to bounce stuff off of or ask questions or they say something and I can kind of come back with something. That's fun. That's why I like having you guys on the podcast too, because I got somebody to talk to and
Yeah.
go back and forth with, which is cool. And
Absolutely.
yeah,
Yeah, and I'm a old man nowadays too, so and most likely I will be home on Saturday and able to hop on. So yeah,
I
let me
know.
know, man.
Yeah, and I know
Keep
in
me
the
included.
past you seem to always go to your like local bar that you go watch the fights at and stuff. So that's why I wasn't sure like in the past if you would even be interested to jump on, but you're always invited, man. So if I don't invite you to my house because I'm gonna try to get people together, then just know I'm probably gonna have one of these and I'll let you know ahead of time. I'll make sure you know. But
Awesome.
enough of the podcast business here. I don't know what I'm doing. I'm just talking about everything. But yeah, so we got some events coming up. We got two big events for this weekend. There's actually more stuff going on this weekend. I just learned because boxing promotion's not the best sometimes. Canelo's fighting this weekend. I should have known. It's Cinco de Mayo on Friday,
Yeah.
but
Well, I
I don't.
think
Oh, go ahead.
in your defense, from what I know of Canelo's fight, or of just Canelo in general, and obviously he's kind of like I would think like the face of boxing right now, but everybody wants him to fight the dude that he ended up losing to. So I don't know if there's as big a buzz for this one as some of the other fights. So
Yeah, yeah. I heard that he was fighting this weekend, and I was like, do I want to prep anything for that? And then I was
yeah,
looking at it and I'm like, nah, I'll just mention it. It is a boxing event. It's something that a lot of boxing fans will watch. So,
everyone's probably still reeling from Tank and Garcia too. So
yeah. Dude, did you watch that fight?
I did watch that fight, and that was I was excited for that, and that was like the first time that I've been excited for a boxing fight in a long time. Like the
No
first time
doubt.
where I was like, dude, I have to watch this fight. And dude, give Tank credit, man. Like I think he performed really well. I think he had a great game plan. I think he showed why he's like kind of ahead of the game right now and is the guy coming up for boxing. Seemed like as soon as he got that first knockdown in the second round that Garcia just was a deer in the headlights and didn't know what to do from that point on, and you could see the writing was on the wall. And dude, it was kind of crazy the actual like knockdown that ended up being the TKO. Dude, in real time, I didn't even see that punch. So that's like a
Right.
testament to how fast Tank is. Like them
Yep.
dudes, whoo, something else.
Yeah, the speed on Tank is insane. I mean, Ryan has speed too, but he's a little more lanky, so
Yep.
it's not as compact as like Tank. So sometimes Tank, as you just said, he throws punches that nobody sees,
Yeah.
and
And
including
to
his opponent.
generate that much power with such a short punch, because it really wasn't too much of a punch.
Right.
Dude, that guy hits hard.
Tyson-esque. That's what
Yeah.
Tyson used to do. Keep those elbows in, keep that punch tight. There's no big looping swings for the most part. When he's technically boxing, he's technical as fuck. And yeah, he keeps that shit tight
Yeah.
and it comes with power, and that's what they have, that God given gift. That's for damn sure. He's just like Tyson with that.
And he does have like a little bit of that. He's sort of a thinking man's fighter because you could tell as the rounds were playing out that he was uh, using some punches and doing some things to kind of figure out Garcia. And then I think he even called it that he was going to finish him in the seventh round, and he ended up doing it.
Yep. Yeah, he's really good at downloading all that data ahead of time. That first round, he's collecting, collecting, collecting. Next thing you know, he hits that download
Yep.
button,
Wop.
everything buffers in, and next thing you know, he's like, "Oh shit, I just got out the matrix and I know what I'm doing."
Yep.
So yeah, it was a good fight and I liked it. I hated the hate that Garcia got afterwards. Um, I don't know
You
if
know,
you saw all that.
Garcia is a young kid, man. So really, what I was mad at, I think it was a big moment for him. I think he showed up, and I'll give him credit for trying to be the matador and aggressive in the beginning of the fight. I just think, he was outclassed by a guy that has more experience than him, has been in bigger fights than him. Garcia's what, 24 years old? Like he's a young kid,
Yeah.
he's still coming up. And he had to lose, some pretty substantial weight for the fight. He was pretty drained for the fight.
Yep. Hydration
So,
clause.
yeah, I
Yeah.
give him credit. What I did have a hard time with was how the hell is De La Hoya and his camp just gonna abandon him after that fight? Like,
Oh, so
that's messed up, man.
I heard a lot of stuff about that. Hold on, before I go on. I don't know if you know who this is, but Ms. Bitch on YouTube. Hey, I'm not calling her a bitch. That's her name. It says Ms. Bitch. She said salute, and then she said, "Is if it is a she, it's Tank Davis the face of boxing?" And just to answer that question real quick, I think he might be. Now she's saying is Shakur Stevenson the future of boxing? That is a valid point as well. I have been looking into Shakur
Yeah,
Stevenson a little more now, and because he has been in the news a bit. So I do think that he is a really big up and comer, and I think he's going to give everybody a run for their money. But Tank being the face of boxing, I kind of think that's true.
yeah. I wouldn't say quite yet. I think I still got to give it to Canelo a little bit, but Tank is sure he's on his way.
Yeah, I think
Another one or two big fights, and yeah, he's the guy.
I think
Especially
that
if he's having fights like that where he's finishing guys, like
yeah,
that's what makes people want to watch. And another thing about that fight that we didn't talk about, those guys fought right when they should have. They're not avoiding people like in boxing they do that. The people that
yes,
should be fighting never fight until it's too late. So
way too
credit
late.
to those guys for doing it when they should have.
And that was the biggest thing that I was putting out there. Um, I was just saying too that this never happens. It's always 6 years down the road, like fucking Mayweather and Pacquiao, which I couldn't remember Pacquiao's name. I don't know what, but massive brain fart.
Manny.
Yeah, but I was just thinking about it, and I was like, that should happen way too late. Obviously, Pacquiao came in kind of injured, and that's what how that went down. And supposedly Ryan Garcia came in injured as well. Apparently,
Yeah,
he
I
had
think
a
it
rib
came out
injury.
afterwards. Yeah, rib
Yeah,
injury.
but, you know, just all the hate he got just because he basically didn't get up for the 8 count, But that's what happens with a rib slash liver shot like that, like you can't really move. And then just
Exactly.
because you
Yeah.
can doesn't mean what's he gonna do? Get up at half-assed and then get knocked the fuck out because he can't really move? Like, that's not smart.
Yeah.
So
Well, and that's the I think when fans say stuff like that, it's people that, either are uneducated fight fans or, have never been hit with something like that because, when you're hit to the body and to the spleen like that, you shut down and it's totally involuntary. No matter how much you want to stand up and go through it, there's nothing you can do.
yeah, definitely. I think we have a bot in here. I don't know that this is unless this is somebody who's very, very adamant about wanting their questions answered. Whatever. We'll just keep going.
Well, if it is, shout out to Miss Bitch. Cheers.
Yeah. Thanks, Miss Bitch, for giving us Anyway, so yeah, that's it's a little bit of boxing news there and and that's what I should have done was had you on for that one because I know that if you pay attention to it at all, you're gonna have an opinion on it, and that's why I like having you on here because I know, especially with MMA, you pay attention and you have an opinion, and it's always a good one. Whether I
Yes.
agree with it or disagree with it is different, but it's always a good one because you always get me going on whether I want to agree and keep that moving or disagree and see where it goes. So,
That's
uh,
honestly one of the reasons why I like our interactions like this, because I feel like sometimes we'll have opposite takes and we can kind of have that, fun little banter about things. So it works out really well, I think.
yeah, because I don't always want somebody to agree with me. I like to hear the other side of it because I do like to put myself on and in their shoes and wonder why they think that, and whether it's you or a random person or anything like that. A plus, keep up the good work. Thanks. Yeah, I just like having somebody there to
Yeah.
talk to and either agree or disagree. It's always going to be fun. So
At some
uh,
point, we'll have to talk about too, if it ends up still happening, but Diaz versus Paul, I think that's pretty interesting,
well,
and I would love to get your take on
hey,
what would happen there.
we're talking about boxing right now, so if you wanna get into it, what do you got? I know
I'm
you weren't
game.
high on it.
Well, I'll tell you this. I'm one who's never gonna pay for a Paul fight. I'm just not interested. I think it's kind of a freak show, clown show type of event. I
Okay.
think I'm not gonna go as far as to say that they're staged or anything like that, but I think that
Thank you.
Paul is certainly selective with who he chooses to fight and when he chooses to fight them. Um, but yeah, man. That being said, and I know that he's one of your boys, I'm kind of worried about Diaz in this one.
Well, here's the thing. I I understand the worry. I also understand your take on the all fights in general, and that's the way I felt at first. But he continued. You know what I mean? He continued on. He took that challenge of fighting a real boxer because I mean Tyson. I mean not Tyson. Freaking Tommy Fury is
Yes.
actually a reality star. To be honest, that's what he's more known for. So especially in the UK, But for him to have taken that fight and go in there, he kind of hung with him, but he lost, And then he didn't go stick his head in the sand, even though a lot of people are saying that
Yeah.
because now he's going back to fighting an ex MMA fighter. Like, who cares? Because Diaz has always been a well-renowned boxer in the MMA, in the MMA space. So when it comes down to it, I think it's a good challenge. I think it's a little later, little bit on the verge of being too late for Diaz, but I still think he's going to give him a fight. It's going to be entertaining. Whether wins
Yeah.
or loses, it's going to be a good one.
Well,
So,
to Paul's credit too, I think like getting back to what you were saying about him fighting the Fury brother, um, he did that right when he should have, because there was, I think, from my perspective, there was a lot of clamoring and a lot of noise about the fact that he was fighting guys that essentially he knew that he could win, guys that were past their prime MMA fighters that weren't boxers and weren't experts at boxing, and as much as I don't like the Paul brothers, like I give the kid credit, like he has a punch, like he has power,
yeah,
and he really is knocking people out. Like those are legitimate knockouts
legit. Thank
with
you.
legit power. I think it's funny when someone says like, "Oh, well, they took a dive," or man, you're gonna take a dive and let someone knock you out? That sounds stupid.
Yeah, you
But
can't. That's not going to happen. I don't
yeah,
think anybody could get paid enough money to let that happen unless they really just don't give a shit.
yeah.
So, I
But
don't
as
know.
far as like the fight, if it happens with Diaz, because I don't know, there's been some rumblings from what I've seen in them uh chirping a little bit. But yeah, I think Diaz, obviously I know that he knows how to box and he has a great boxing trainer and their boxing is good, but I don't know. I just feel nervous for him because I think in the beginning of fights, he always starts kind of slow.
Yeah.
He's very hittable and he lets himself get hit, which against a younger, arguably faster, maybe even a stronger puncher, I don't know if that's a good idea.
Well,
So,
I'll tell you what, he definitely is a stronger puncher. Diaz doesn't have that kind of power, not that kind of one punch power, that's for sure. But, you know, the volume and the pressure is what Diaz will do to get a hold of Paul because I don't think he can handle that. But if Diaz does what like you said, if he does what he does and he's a slow starter, uh if he lets him hit if he lets Paul hit him like he's hit everybody else, he's going
mhm,
out. And if not, he's definitely going to be on 6th Street wondering what just happened. And then it's dangerous for him. So the thing is he gonna he needs to game plan better. If he's gonna if he can't break himself from starting slow, he definitely needs to make sure that defense is up and maybe try to
Yeah.
come at it from a different angle, I think at least.
What I would hope that he does is get in great shape, do like the triathlon stuff so that your cardio is on point, and then just do what he used to do in UFC, man. Like take him to the deep water, like put the pressure on him and the pace on him, and use like really good boxing. Like I think Paul might underestimate how good of a boxer Diaz is, and maybe take that lightly, which could play into Diaz's advantage in a fight like that. Because if Diaz can come out and start, throwing combos and keep Paul guessing, he could definitely maybe get to a TKO, if not, a decision win. So that would be good because I'm a fan of Diaz, and
Yeah.
I would hate to see Paul beat him.
Me too. Me too. And just to acknowledge a little bit here, there's a lot of stuff going on in the chat. I will just say they said John Jones is greater than Khabib. Sure. Prime Ferguson would whoop Khabib. Negative. Wrong. GSP is greater than Khabib. Okay, cool. Yeah. So you don't like Khabib. I get it. Coward went to once. Okay, yeah. Um, I'm gonna stop reading that now. Anyway, don't talk about my boy Khabib, god damn it. Um no, so here's some more interesting stuff. We'll get right into this now. Let's go into a few more things in combat sports news. We've got some bare knuckle MMA. I'm not sure if you heard of this. I didn't know this was going on this weekend specifically. But apparently this is the first of its kind in this fashion. It's Gamebred Bare Knuckle MMA. He's got Gamebred
Oh, okay.
Boxing. Yeah, so it's Jorge Masvidal's event. And Roy Nelson is fighting. Big country. So that's gonna be kind of nuts.
Wow.
um,
Yeah.
yeah, and Dylan Klecker is his opponent, which I've never heard of the dude. This is happening tomorrow night, in Florida. I don't know. It's streaming on YouTube, on Masvidal's YouTube page and on the Facebook pages. So we can watch this for free, which I was
Wow.
intrigued because it's Roy Nelson. So,
Yeah, that's definitely breaking news for me. And from Roy Nelson, he's an exciting guy to watch for sure. That's
yeah.
almost from what if Klecker is anything like Nelson, there's probably definitely going to be a knockout in that fight.
And what we've seen from bare knuckle fighting, which we'll get into a little more in just a bit. What we've seen from that, now we're talking bare knuckle MMA. Like this shit's getting wild. But
Yeah,
Gamebred puts on some really really interesting events, and it's not all like circus shit. You know what I mean? For the most part, Gamebred's a real kind of dude, so he wants to put that shit in. Masvidal
absolutely.
is a man of culture. Yeah, I mean, there you
Yeah.
go.
No, and he's a student of the game too, but as well as him being a fighter, like you could tell that he's a fan of fighting too. So anything that he does, yeah, I'm supporting him, especially now that, he's retired and everything like that and moved on. So I
Yeah,
wish I wish him all the success with everything he does.
for sure. And I'm glad that he's putting on some events that people are going to be interested in. This is the first of its kind, from what I understand. So we'll see how it goes. The only other name I really recognize on this card is Charles Charles Felony Bennett, aka
Oh,
Charles Crazy Horse Bennett.
crazy
He
horse.
used to be known as Crazy Horse. Now he wants to be known as Felony. So
Oh, wow. Okay.
yeah, it's nuts. I don't know. He started that a few years ago, and now he corrects everybody saying, he's Felony. He's not Crazy Horse anymore. But anyway, that dude's nuts and he'll do anything. So I'm not surprised he's on this event.
Did you
Other than
catch
that,
I was gonna say, did you catch Mike Perry and uh
oh
Luke Rockhold?
yeah. Yeah, we got that coming up. We'll
Okay.
go over that in a
All right.
minute. So the other thing I definitely wanted to make sure, anyway, check out Bare Knuckle MMA. I should probably wrap that one up. Tomorrow night, I guess you can watch it on YouTube. So go look for Jorge Masvidal's pages on Facebook and YouTube. You should be able to watch it there. But moving on, what do you think of this? So Francis Ngannou was being sought after by Bare Knuckle FC, and they decided not to continue to go after him because they said he wanted too much money. Now it was this whole thing in the news about one championship saying they're close to an agreement to sign him. And then it comes out with this. After careful reflection, we decided not to submit our final offer. Francis is a good guy and a good champion. I wish him continued success and happiness. At the end of the day, I don't feel Francis and I were fully aligned on non-financial matters. It's nothing personal. It's just a lack of alignment. That's Chachi Sitchitong, which is the um, president of One Championship. So, what have
Yeah.
you heard about this? Have you been following this?
Yeah, I've been paying attention to it. So, first of all, let me say this, right? Like all the MMA fighters across all promotions are underpaid. Flat out, like they all deserve way more money they're getting, especially on the UFC end of things. Like they all deserve to be getting paid much more than what they're taking down. Like I think there's I could probably count on my hand how many guys are making legit money that, you know, deserve it and should be making it. That being said, like they need to put, I don't know how they go about like making sure that they get what they deserve. That being said though, Francis, and I don't know if it's so much him or maybe his team and managers behind him, but either they or himself is like his worst enemy because like the guy is like extremely marketable. Obviously, like he's fascinating, fun to watch. Like he's has great fights. Like he's almost guaranteed for fireworks and knockouts. I just think like in this game you kind of got to earn certain things, right? And obviously he's a phenomenal fighter. He fought the best. He beat the best guys. But it's like I don't know. Did he do a lot of the things that like your GSPs did or your Anderson Silvas did, and those things that like kind of warrant big numbers and big eyes and stuff like that. I think he was on the cusp of getting there and reaching that stuff, but some of the stuff that he was asking for, like I think he wanted I think for was it for one or was it for Bellator that he wanted a seat on like their board of directors as well as getting like
Yep.
I think like a guaranteed like 10 million and all that stuff like you know
Yeah. So apparently, he's demanding that his opponents don't make under a certain amount when he fights them. Anyone else out there doing that for their opponents is what this tweet is asking, which is true. Here's the thing: my thoughts, just kind of going off of what you said and stuff, is he. So basically, what I think happened is he was trying so hard to do the right thing that he took it too far. He just
yeah
took it too far, and he's trying so hard to get the things that everyone's asking for that he's going overboard. So I heard that he's trying, like this says, he's trying to, you know, get the amount for his opponent to never be below a certain amount so that his opponents are always getting paid well. So it either has to be even
yeah
with what he's making or more. That's the thing. And then what you said about him being on the board is, yeah, he wants to be like a part of everything so that he can call the shots and he can make sure that all the other fighters that he's fighting are well paid, well taken care of, and everything else. So he's not only worrying about his own money, but he's worrying about the
yeah
money of his opponents, which is great. That's a stand-up thing to do. But he's putting himself out of contention for all of these, you know,
yeah
all these organizations.
it's certainly admirable what he's trying to do, but it's like dude, if that's your aim, right? And you want to make it so that you're taking care of your opponents and like that's your game, like dude, that's awesome. Like I said, very commendable, but you got to kind of play chess behind the scenes before you just flat out go out and say that. You have to have people on board and ready to do that with you before you're just like, hey, let me tweet that this is what I want to do and this is what I need. And if
Right.
not, we're not going to do anything. Because I think right now he's getting to a point where he's burning bridges. And I just worry that here's this guy who's phenomenal in his prime, and he's kind of squandering it by you know not playing ball a little bit. I think he has to realize that at the end of the day, this is still a business, right? And he's dealing with businessmen, and they're trying to do the best thing, not only by him, which I think certain individuals would, but also by their businesses and their organizations too. So, you kind of have to play ball a little bit with that stuff.
Yeah. So there was two sides to this. There's people talking about he's fumbling the bag, he's fucking everything up. He's overzealous and overcompensating for himself and all this other shit. But the other side is he's trying to get what he's worth, and he's also trying to do well for others, and his peers and stuff. But like I said, he's going too far. But the other thing is it sounds to me like he's also already has something in play. There's already something there. Now he's going out and entertaining these other offers because that's kind of what you do. And it sounds like he might be just throwing shit out there to see, hey, if they grab this, I'm okay with going over there. But if they don't let me do it, who cares? Now, I
Yeah.
saw him tweeting earlier saying, don't worry, guys, have faith. Everything's going to come together. I heard a bunch of other people saying, he's already in talks and in the works and damn near signed to the PFL, which the PFL is going to allow him to fight in MMA and also do the pay-per-view
Boxing.
boxing stuff with PFL that Jake Paul signed on for. So, you know, it's allowing him to do the couple things he wants to do as well as still get paid and still be with a reputable organization, but I just don't know how that's going to work for him. PFL's not much for the higher weight divisions as far as what I've seen. So I don't know. Is
Yeah,
it
and that's kind of the thing I think that worries me about him right now too is who you gonna fight, man? It's like, in order to bring those eyes and ears and to make noise in this game, you gotta have the right dance partner,
yeah.
and I don't know who's out there for him. I did see freaking Verdum is in some crazy shape right now, so that could
Yeah.
be an interesting fight.
And
I did
Verdum's
think
tweeting at
he's
him.
calling him out. Yeah,
Yeah, he's tweeting at him, telling him, "Let's get in that smart cage," which is the PFL cage, and so he's trying to earn himself a spot in the PFL as well. I don't know. I guess we'll see what happens, but
yep,
that was some interesting stuff. And to go along with that, John Jones also said this. I think the Stipe fight will be plenty for me. I feel like I don't really have much to prove after beating Stipe. I do believe a Francis Ngannou fight would be worth entertaining, not retiring. I think a Francis fight would come with some serious revenue and that would make it worth my while. So basically, he's saying, and what everyone's talking about is that he wants to fight Stipe and be done, unless Francis is going to come back to the UFC
yeah.
and give him a fight, which is what was supposed to happen in the first place. The whole point of him going to heavyweight was to fight Francis, and then Francis leaves. So I'm not sure how that's gonna play out. I don't know if he's gonna get his wish on that one, but it's kind of crazy to hear him say he's done if after he fights Stipe.
Yeah.
So
Well, I mean, obviously Dana has said what he said about Ngannou and his chances of coming back. So I don't know. I kind of take this as a little bit of just white noise. Um, I would love to see the fight.
yeah,
I know that, but yeah, at this point, I'm not sure how that's going to come to fruition. And I think Johns needs to be focused on Stipe before he
yeah,
starts thinking of Ngannou.
for
Don't
sure.
get ahead of yourself there, buddy.
And I just take what Dana White says something will never happen. I take that with a grain of salt. He's said that over and over and over again. Like women fighting in the UFC, and look, they're part of that. They've made the UFC bigger. There was some of their biggest stars have come out from the women's division. So
Yeah.
he says a
I
lot of
don't know if
things.
any of those people have ever spurned the company and Dana like Ngannou has, though.
True, but similar things have happened in the past. And yeah, some of them never came back. So yeah, I mean, who knows? Who
Yeah.
knows? I
You
think if
never say never in this game,
yeah,
though. So
I think if the opportunity presented itself with Jones and they're serious about that and Jones just fucking runs through Stipe, I think they'll try to get Ngannou back just to get him a fight with Jones, get that payday, let Jones get out after that, and then Ngannou can just kind of see what happens. If he loses, they'll probably be like, move along. And if he wins, then they'll be like, all right, let's see what you got and give him some tough opponents just to kind of get back at him a little bit. But I don't know. I thought it was kind of nuts. And yeah, John Jones saying he's going to retire. We'll see what happens with that. Um,
yeah.
I'm not sure. Did you watch the fights this past weekend? Song Yadong versus Ricky Simone.
I didn't get a chance to, man. I
I hear you.
obviously like keep up with the results and stuff like that, but yeah, my schedule's been crazy, man.
Yeah, I honestly I didn't get to watch all of it either. I was trying to watch stuff here and there. I was big into the BKFC event, which yeah, I'm gonna get to in a minute. But this card wasn't the best either. Like there was not a whole lot going on this card, but that main event was pretty exciting. Song Yadong versus Ricky Simone. Two exciting fighters. Yadong, he did his thing, man. He worked Simone more than I thought he would. I kind of thought Ricky was gonna come out and get the best of him, but Song Yadong has I don't know, man. He's got this
He put
weird
that dong
switch
on him.
that he's got this weird switch that turns on. Like he's sick of people making fun of his name. No, it's funny though because every time you say it, you can't help but laugh. But yeah, and then here's the strong finish from him. I mean, he just kind of beat the shit out of Ricky Simone, trying to get up and just getting beat on. It sounds like he just put the work on him. Simone had like a small little bit of a light shining through for a minute in the middle of the fight, but you know, here in the fifth round, that's what it was. So not a big
Yep.
card. That's why I just kind of wanted to cover the main event, because I always try to cover at least that. Um, but yeah, Song Yadong looks like he's on his way to trying to get a title fight here soon. But we'll see what happens with that. And here is what we've been talking about a lot, which is the BKFC event. I kind of do have
Yes.
I have a little bit to go through on this one, so we got a few pictures and some stuff to talk about here, but this was pretty exciting considering I haven't been big on BKFC. It hasn't been my thing really, but this event was insane and I couldn't pass up covering as much as I could about it.
Yeah. So I'm kind of in the same boat with you when it comes to BKFC. I don't pay so much attention, but I was a big fan of Chad Mendes when he was competing for UFC. Obviously, Eddie Alvarez is like a great fighter to watch. He's been in like a lot of great fights. Um, and I did find Perry and Rockhold very interesting for a couple of different reasons. I think what did they fight at weight wise?
185.
Okay, yeah, that's crazy. Because am I correct? Perry was he
They were both
155?
Perry, I think he might have started at 155, but he was fighting at 170.
Yeah, so that's crazy.
Yeah.
He moved up that much, and then Rockhold, I think, finished his career at 205, but was fighting at 185 for the most part, right?
Yeah, for
So
sure.
yeah,
Yep.
it's just crazy, like the weight that these guys lose to be able to, fight at their weight classes. And then
Yeah,
I feel happy for Perry because I feel like he had like a rough go of things, and then I think he's found kind of his niche and like a home, and it's good for him. I'm happy that he's kind of doing his thing a little bit because a lot of the times the stuff that you were hearing about him wasn't the greatest of news.
for sure. And yeah, I feel like he was made for this. This is like what
Yeah, exactly.
yeah,
This is it.
like
This is his realm.
he went to MMA, he showed a little bit of what he had, and then he kind of fizzled out a bit, and then was like, "What's this? I can fight bare knuckle? Fuck yeah!" So
Exactly.
he was all about that shit. So he gets in there and he does it, and he fucks people up, man.
And
He
he
has
fucked Rockhold
Oh
up.
yeah, he has the style and has what it takes to do this sport. Like it's nuts. It just didn't. It wasn't good for him with the takedowns and the kicks. It just wasn't working for him. But he
Mhm.
has massive power in his hands and he likes to throw. So this is the perfect place for him, I guess. And he's a fucking dog. He likes to cut people up, and he likes to if he's
Exactly.
bleeding, he finds it funny. So that's kind of what he. Yeah, it's insane, man. But this was a
Yeah.
great card. And speaking of somebody made for BKFC, Ben Rothwell, this was his second fight in
Yeah.
BKFC, and this motherfucker's made for BKFC too, man. He is just a fucking animal. He's crazy. That's what he likes to do is throw hands, and he does it well. I don't know if you saw any highlights from this, but dude, Ben Rothwell is a fucking beast.
So I did catch a couple highlights from this, and then again, I think Ben Rothwell, like we just said with Mike Perry, this is his home. You know what I mean? I think when from what I had saw from him in UFC, like he was trying to do stuff and like with the McGregors and the people that come on there to like kind of give you this persona. He was trying to do that, but it just came across as like non genuine. So this is perfect for him. Like the dude's a badass. Like he's about real fighting and knocking fools out, and good for him for finding a home where he can do that.
Yeah, nasty uppercuts, man. I mean, he gets in there and does that dirty boxing well, and he's just so fucking big, dude. Like Josh Copeland is not a small dude, and he fought in the UFC as well. But to just try to overcome Big Ben Rothwell, like this motherfucker is crazy, just crazy. And Copeland couldn't hang. He got dropped and he got finished, and fucking Ben Rothwell's just making his way through the BKFC right now. It's his second fight. That means he's
Absolutely.
2-0 and fucking let's see who he's got next cuz he's big, he's bad, he's fucking scary looking and he's throwing those bare knuckles like, you know, he means it for sure.
And he's legit too. Like the dude is a legitimate, really good fighter. He has really good skills, especially in stand up. Like he should be able to do his thing in BKFC for sure.
Yeah, I think he's gonna be there for a bit, and he's gonna really do some good stuff with it. And I just feel like that's where he belongs, just like Perry. He's finding his way through it, and I think he's just it's gonna serve him well, and I think people are gonna like him more doing this. So because BKFC is kind of blowing up right now, like with this event and everything that happened that night, and we'll get to all the craziness at the end.
Yeah.
But you know, even with the women, man, you wouldn't think you wanna watch women throw bare knuckles, but these fucking women do their damn
Jeez,
thing too.
yeah.
I mean, I don't know if you remember Rowdy Beck Rawlings from the UFC,
Yep.
but she was a good fighter in MMA, but she just seemed to be kinda wishy-washy, like, she would get on a streak and then lose and then just couldn't bounce back the way that, you would think she would. So, then she came over to BKFC and shit, she was doing pretty well, but, Ferreira is just, dude, I don't know, she's different, man. She's different. She's a big chick and she can fucking throw, and, even when she's getting hit, she takes those punches well. And Beck Rawlings gave her a fight, gave her a good fight. She even said it herself, but she's like, she didn't have what I had. And what I had was those knuckles to fucking get it done. This ended by a cut, a stoppage because of a cut. And Beck Rawlings was pissed about it. She
Yeah,
didn't
you
feel
could
like,
tell just by the photos here. Like they were doing some real damage,
oh
man.
yeah. And this for I think it's for Ferreira. I can't say her name. It's weird. It's Ferea, but it's like
I think
you
you
would
are saying it correctly.
yeah, so you would think that she would have, like, an accent and shit, but I listened to some of her interviews, and she just sounds like a badass. Like, she's one of those girls she's the champ right now, and she's showing it, you know what I mean? She talks the talk and walks the walk, and she fucks people up. She's cutting people and getting fights stopped because of it, because she's, landing those knuckles like she needs to and busting people up. And she does look scary as fuck, man. That haircut with the tats on the head and shit.
Absolutely. Yep.
Holy shit, she looks the part. And that's what's crazy, man. All these BKFC fighters, you look at their their fight pictures and it looks like mugshots. You're like, "What the fuck, man? Did this guy
Yep.
just get out of the pinto right now? Like, what the fuck?" They
She
all
beat
look
my ass. I know that. That's for
yeah,
sure.
like, it's crazy, man, but watching the women fighting this, Paige Van Zant's done it, Rachel Ostovich has done it, there all kinds Beck Rawlings, Taylor Starling, all kinds of, women have been in here fighting in the bare knuckle ring, and it's pretty cool, man. I mean, I'm glad that, they're taking it on just like they did MMA, and they're proving themselves in that ring, and, it's fucking brutal, and some of these girls I feel like shouldn't be getting cut up with bare knuckles, but it is
Yeah.
what it is, and it's entertaining.
Well,
So,
no, any time that we get more avenues where we can see, people perform and, these fighters can make money, that's all good for us, the fans. So, I'm
definitely.
all for it.
Yeah. So, the second to the biggest fight of the night here, Chad Mendes versus Eddie Alvarez, which is a fight I never really thought I'd see,
Yeah,
especially in bare
exactly.
knuckle, man. So, I mean, how did you feel watching any of this go down? Like, who were you thinking was gonna take this fight?
I thought Eddie Alvarez.
Okay.
I think just you know it, from what I knew of Chad, I always felt like his biggest strength was going to be in wrestling. So
Yeah.
obviously, if you take that away and all he has to do is box, I thought he was going to be at a disadvantage, and I think it played out that way. I was excited though to see both of them hook up because you know th- they were both fun guys to watch, and they're both names. So to have them come out and be able to make a fight and bring some eyes and stuff like that and help grow, the BKFC a little bit. That's good, man. And again, like I was saying before, when stuff like this happens for the fans, we win.
For sure. And it's something exciting like this. I mean, Chad Mendes is definitely his thing is wrestling, but he's always been able to throw big, heavy hands and land them. I mean, he had some good knockouts in the UFC. But yeah, against somebody like fucking Eddie Alvarez, man, the Underground King, that motherfucker throws hands like nobody else, and he's always been in there for the fight. Um, Mendes gave him a run for his money, and some people actually thought Mendes won. So
Yeah.
I didn't get to see every minute of that fight, but from everything I saw, I guess it could have gone either way. But I listened to a couple people talk about it, and it sounded more like Alvarez got the best of him. And a lot of these pictures prove that. There's a lot of good pictures and stills of them, of Eddie landing really good shots.
Yeah.
And
And to
from
my knowledge too, I think Eddie had been a lot more active than Chad has recently, and
yeah.
that could have played into it too.
Well, the only other thing though is that Chad has fought in the BKFC once before and he won definitively. So for having boxed and had that experience once before against somebody who hadn't, most of the time they want to lean towards Mendez, taking the win. But I think Eddie definitely held his own in that aspect, being that
Yeah.
it was his first time.
Alvarez is slept on, man. Like, I don't think he gets like his just due as far as respect goes. And when you get guys that kind of made their name away from UFC, that were bigger away from that than they were when they were in the promotion, even though, he was a champion, I think that kind of happens with those guys. So, he's very underrated in my opinion.
Yeah, definitely. Um, As you can see here, like I said, a lot of really good shots landed by Eddie Alvarez. And then, at the end, he did get the win, but, all class between the two of them. Look how busted up Chad Mendes is.
Yeah,
And
man.
Eddie Alvarez didn't look that busted up. So if you're judging on damage, Alvarez got the best of him for sure. But unfortunately, or maybe fortunately for Mendes, he did call it quits after this. He's retired again. He retired from MMA and then he came out of retirement to do BKFC. Had this one big fight. I'm sure he got paid well for it. And now he's, hanging him up again, which is cool with me because, he's getting out again. He didn't get like super brutalized and knocked out cold and made to look like an old guy like most of these guys get out. He got out
Yeah.
on a decent manner. So
Yeah. Well, and then, I think he's a guy that I think loves the fight game. You know what I mean? So if he was able to come in and get a couple more, just for him to be able to kind of walk away on his terms and stuff like that's good, man. He deserves it.
yeah, and I think I'm pretty sure Eddie's gonna fight again in the BKFC. I see it
Yeah.
happening. It sounded like he had a good time. It sounded like he enjoyed it, and it sounded like he's all about it. So and he looked pretty damn good doing it. Didn't take too much damage, and I think he could be exciting. The Underground King, man, that's a badass fucking nickname. I love it. I love it, man, and I don't think they emphasized it enough in MMA when it came down to it, but. I think he needs to bring that back up to the surface and put it out there in front of everybody saying, I am the underground king of the BKFC and fucking, make his presence known. And then this is a good way to start against Mendes, a big name that's fought in the BKFC before. So I enjoyed it. I was
Absolutely.
happy to see it. Um, so yeah, and then of course the final fight, Rockhold against Perry. Now, Rockhold looks like a big motherfucker in there. When I saw them get in that ring together, I was like, "Holy shit, Rockhold looks huge."
Yeah. If you were to put this like on paper in front of me, I would have definitely probably picked Luke Rockhold to win this
Yeah.
fight. But yeah, man, give Mike Perry credit, man. Like, obviously you've seen like the pictures of Rockhold after the fight, his
Yeah.
teeth like cracked and
Oh, we got it coming. Yeah, it was nuts, man. Mike Perry just coming in there fighting Julian Lang like he did. They got into it while he was commentating beforehand. So then they made the fight in the ring, and he busted Julian up, dude. He made him look like he didn't know what he was
yeah.
doing. And
Well,
then,
there's
oh yeah, go ahead.
was gonna say there's that saying that like, people have that dog in them, and Perry put up a tweet where he was like, dogs have that Mike Perry in them.
Yeah, dude, I was laughing. That was a good one. I fucking loved it. I was like, "Fuck yeah." That's
Yeah,
a good Mike Perry meme right there. That's dope.
absolutely. And that perfectly explains him because he is a fucking dog, dude.
Oh,
That guy
yeah.
comes to fight every time.
And he's so fucking awkward and he just like doesn't know the right thing to say all the time. So he gets all stumbled up on his words and then Rockhold called him out on it a couple times in a face to face and he was like, "Hey, listen, I don't give a fuck. I'm going to knock your ass out. It doesn't even matter. You won't be able
Yep.
to talk when I'm done." I was like, "Yeah, that's the way to play that shit."
Oh yeah.
It was funny as hell. But Rockhold got some hits in on him. He didn't look like he didn't look like a complete novice, you know what I mean? He still got some licks in on Perry. I think he actually rocked him once in the midst of the fight, but
Yeah.
you can't hang with that
Rockhold's an
dog.
interesting cat, man. Like, former champ, like, obviously has been sort of on a roller coaster in his career. I feel like he's been highest to highs, lowest to lows, and I'll say this about him, right? Like, Rockhold is a dude that did not have to be a fighter. Like, he's a handsome dude. Like,
He's a
he could
legit
be a male
model.
model.
Oh, he's a
Like,
legit male model.
if he wanted to, like, that could be his avenue to make a living, and he
Yeah,
chooses to do this shit because you could tell he has a love for it, man. And like his camp and the people that he came up with, like, they're all legit guys. So he's learned from the best, and give him credit, man. Like, he's a warrior. He goes in there and whatever happens, man, he's always down for the fight. And he's fought the best of the best. So,
that's exactly what I was gonna say. He fought a lot of the best names in the UFC, and
yep.
he got through it. He came up through Strike Force and he was great there. Fucking yeah, he had a great career. I hate that once he fell off from being the champ, he just couldn't make it back. I didn't
Yeah,
like the way that he retired against Paulo Costa. Like that was. Oh wait, no, he still had one more fight after that, right? No, that was
I
his.
believe so.
Yeah. Oh yeah, because he went up to 205.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. But yeah, that the way I don't know the way when he was done, the way he looked, I was just like, fuck, man, that
Yeah, and
sucks.
then like in those fights too, it's like he had his moments where he looked great, and then he would get knocked out.
Yeah.
So it was just one of those things. Like, he might be one of those guys that maybe hung around too long, but who am I to say?
Yeah. Well, he did say, and probably for this reason, he did say, next time I'd like to have some gloves, but he said he's not done. But this is what the fuck happens when you get hit by Mike Perry. Busted his
Yeah,
lip,
man.
put his teeth through his lip, broke a tooth, knocked out a tooth, all kinds of shit. Like he was fucked up. And this still isn't even the best picture, but it was the best one I could find at the moment. But I mean, that's pretty gruesome right there. Bare knuckle, that's what you get. So it's kind of crazy. And I don't know that Rockhold's going to do another one. I think he's going to go to regular boxing, if anything.
Yeah, dude. You know, like I said, man, the dude does not have to be doing this.
No.
He's a pretty boy, and
Yep.
he could be doing anything. So,
Yeah.
more power
And
to the guy, man.
for sure. To round off this event, at the end of all fucking things, Conor McGregor, first of all, he's out in the crowd and he's just hyped. I'm pretty sure he was coked up, dude. Because if you watch
Yep.
that interview,
Cocaine Connor.
dude, he in that interview at the end in the ring, he's standing there listening, he's wiping his nose, and then he's like, "So here we go," and he just gets going, and he's fucking a million miles a minute. He's out in the crowd, chugging the fuck out of his proper 12, straight out the bottle. By the way, he
Yep.
doesn't have a glass, no mixer. Motherfucker's drinking it straight out the bottle, and then he's giving advice during the fights. He told Eddie
Yeah,
Alvarez,
there's a clip.
"Yep, the uppercut's there. The uppercut's there." Alvarez hits the uppercut,
Yeah,
points
and
at him,
and
goes, "Fuck
acknowledges him.
yeah, yeah." So he said on an interview that that's what he does with his coach. When his coach calls out codes for him, when the code works, he sees it. He actually follows through with it, and it works. He always points at his coach to acknowledge that he had it right and that he saw it and he did what he said. So he's all, yeah, it was like second nature for me to do that. And he's like, then I realized I'm doing that to Connor. Like, what the fuck? Connor's out here telling me what's up. But I guess he was
And he
telling Mendez
pieced
too.
him up.
Yeah. I guess he was giving Mendez advice and shit too. But he was out there like a kid in a candy store, man, like cheering on all of his favorites. like saying, "I like chocolate, I like nerds, I like lollipops," just doing all of it like a kid in a candy store, and he was having the fucking time of his life. So, and then he busted into the cage with the belt, and because Mike Perry called him out and was like, "Hey, I'd like to get a face off with Conor McGregor." The camera pans over and McGregor's like, "That shit, okay." So he
Yeah.
gets up. Somebody hands him a belt. Lorenzo Hunt apparently hands him the belt and says, "Take this shit." He
Yep.
goes in there with the belt. It was nuts.
It's all about them views.
Yeah, and, the owner of BKFC is over there licking his lips because he's like, "This is the shit." But I give
Absolutely.
that
Yep.
dude props. David Feldman, I give that dude props. The motherfucker took out a second mortgage on 2 of his properties to be able to make this show happen, and it's paid out tenfold for him from what I understand, because this was a damn good event, and all of the fighters have respect for him, saying they would definitely fight for him again. That's the kind of promoter you wanna fight for. Somebody who gives a shit enough to put their all into an event and to, you know, come out with like giving everybody what they deserve. So it sounds like the BKFC is doing well and people are going to be interested to continue fighting in it. So I'm excited for that. We'll see what other kind of big matchups they do and if they can continue to put out quality events. But I guess,
Absolutely. Yeah.
yeah,
They certainly have the ability to do so. So yeah, I definitely will probably be paying more attention here as they do more events.
definitely. I mean, this was a pay per view, but he's saying that he's not looking to do pay-per-views, at only, pay-per-views as big events. He's saying he would prefer to just put it out on their app and let more people get to see it and stuff like that. So, we'll see. We'll see what he comes up with, and it sounds like he's just running it by the skin of his teeth, but he's doing a good job so far. So, I give him props for putting it all on the line and making it a great event. So, we'll move on real quick before we get to the last UFC, the actual UFC event that we're looking forward to talking about here. We do have another event going on tomorrow night, which is a pretty big one because it's the first time ever in the US, one championship. So it's one on Prime Video 10 or one Fight Night 10, whatever you want to call it. Demetrius Johnson versus damn it, I forgot his name. His first name, Maurice.
Adriano.
Adriano, thank you. God, I don't know. I always forget his first name. Because I think of was it Marlon Moraes?
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So anyway, this is the third time they're gonna fight. The first time Moraes got the best of Demetrius, which we're not used to seeing, and because of one championship's rule set, he got a big knee on while he was on his knees on the ground, and he kneed him into oblivion, and fucking knocked out DJ, and became the champ that way, or held the I don't know. I think he was already the champ. I don't remember. But either way, knocked out DJ in the first one. And then the second fight, Demetrius Johnson came back and did the exact same shit and knocked him out as well. Well, first off, here's Moraes is look at his knee and oh
Yeah.
god. Dude, it was yeah, that was nasty watching DJ get knocked out like that cuz first of all, we're not used to seeing DJ get knocked out at all. Not to mention getting knocked out like that was pretty sad, I
Yeah.
guess.
Well, I think because of the rule change too, DJ might have been not as prepared for something like that as he maybe should have been.
Right.
But yeah, man. Credit to Marais. He did his thing.
Yeah. And then, well, he got that sweet revenge because I think Mighty Mouse had the I think his was more nasty because Rice was actually out for a few after his knockout.
So I'm willing to bet that you've probably seen this, but Henry Cejudo did a breakdown of this series of punches and things that led to that knockout. And
Right.
like, dude, DJ is i- if he was like 3 to 4 inches taller and like 20 to 30 pounds heavier, he would be the most popular fighter in the world.
Yeah.
Like the only thing holding him back and why people don't pay attention to him and call him the GOAT is because he's a little guy. Like
Yep.
that has to be the only reason because you if you watch him in his highlight reel, man, like it's impossible not to be a fan of him. Like the way that they broke down this event or this series of events that led to that knockout and how you see his poise and how he's thinking through what he's throwing to get to that knockout, like the guy is on another level as far as fight IQ and seeing things as they're happening and being able to make these things happen. Like he had that other pretty notorious finish in UFC where he threw a guy into an armbar. Like the dude is just it's insane like his fight IQ, man. Like again, like he should be the GOAT,
Yeah,
really. Like just based on skill and what he's able to do, it's crazy.
yeah,
And he's a fucking nerd, man. Like the
he
guy
is.
like he's a gamer and like all this other stuff like it's crazy, man. So he's like the ultimate like thinking man's fighter in my opinion. Like the dude is just he's incredible to watch.
Yeah, his fight IQ is off the charts. He's fast, he's got power, and he just thinks of the most unique shit to do in the moment, and he does it. Like you're saying against Ray Borg, he did that crazy like kind of about to suplex him and then turned it around into an
Yeah,
armbar
just
shit. Like coming from having him like he's on his back and then he tries to go to throw him and then just decides to turn him and jumps into an armbar. It's fucking insane. And that's
yeah.
like that's a memory I'll never forget, that's for goddamn
Yeah,
sure.
before Homeboy even knew what was going on, he's like tapping. And
Yep.
I think even he had to sit there and just be like, "What the fuck just happened?" you know?
Yeah, yeah. Oh, dude, I couldn't even imagine. So, for the first time, this is happening in Denver, Colorado, and it's the first time in the US that one championship has an event in the US that's usually like in Singapore or something like that. Because that's where it's based out of. It's an Asian promotion, but they have all kinds of shit like Muay Thai, grappling, submission grappling, uh, regular MMA. They have all that pretty much. So, I
Yeah.
mean, you can go from watching a, submission grappling match to a MMA match to then a Muay Thai match. So and they have all kinds of big stars. One of the big, Jourdain, is a pretty, famous, Muay Thai world champion right now for one championship. He fought in a mixed rules match against Demetrius Johnson, where they fought Muay Thai in the first round, MMA, and then it was supposed to go Muay Thai and MMA again. It was supposed to be a 4-round fight, mixed rules. First round, all Muay Thai. Second round, all MMA rules. Well, Demetrius hard fought through the first round, got caught a little bit with with Muay Thai only, but then he came back in the second round just as he predicted. He said, if I can get through the first round, make it to the second round, he won't know what to do in MMA. I'll get him to the ground, I'll submit him, and that's exactly what he did against a high level striker like Rawtang. It was insane.
Yeah.
Um,
He he's a student of the game. I mean, you could tell that he does his homework and that he comes in with game plans and is able to make those adjustments. Like, you know, he has everything. Like he's 100% complete. And he has like a great team behind him too because they're obviously coming up with these awesome game plans for him. So, yeah, he's one of the funnest guys to watch in my opinion.
he's just so fucking disciplined. It's hard to avoid saying that he's one of the best ever because he definitely is. And if anybody wants to argue that fact, I mean, quit wasting your breath. But
Yeah.
unfortunately, too, though, I almost forgot. He did say that this might be his last fight. So
And I was gonna bring that up too, because I had that I had seen something that he was saying that after this one he's about to be done.
yeah. Yeah, and I don't know if that's dependent on winning or losing, or if he just hasn't made up his mind fully. I think he was gonna kind of wait and see what happens that night, the night of, and see how he feels, and maybe see what happens with the fight, and to decide whether he's gonna be done or not. But he's definitely doesn't have too many fights left if he's not done after this event. So I guess we'll just have to wait and see if he actually, calls it quits or not. But
Yeah.
as
From
far
what I
as
saw, I got the gist that this was gonna be it for him no matter what the outcome is. So, if it is, like, hell of a career, man. It's been great watching him.
Yeah, and I mean, if he does call it quits, I'm definitely gonna have a nice little, goodbye, farewell sending off to him because he's definitely. I like we said, we just went off talking about it for a while there because that's how good he is. So, but the rest of the card, like I said, Rotang is the co-main event here, fighting against Edgar Tabarez in flyweight Muay Thai World Championship, and then we have a flyweight submission grappling world championship with one of the up and coming superstars. if you're into any of this stuff, you might have heard of him, but I understand if you haven't because a lot of people don't know too much about this. I follow all this shit. I'm not that deep into it, but I know the bigger names. Mikey Musumeci, he's just a big time grappler. This dude's a complete fucking nerd, way more of a nerd than DJ. You see DJ and you're like, that dude looks cool. You see Mikey and you're like, holy shit, this guy's a super nerd. I could kick his ass, and he'll wrap your ass up and choke you out. So he's fighting to defend his belt against Osama Alamarwe. Yeah, he's from Yemen. I don't know much about him. I'm not gonna go into detail here. I just wanted to mention the rest of the big names that are on here. So we also have an atomweight MMA fight. Stamp Fairtex, who's one of their leading women superstars in one championship. You could probably see her in some highlights that come across where she's always dancing in the cage. It's kind of funny. She's always doing like TikTok dances and stuff. She does it in a weird, unique way. She's a really atom weight. It's 115, so she's a really small chick,
Okay.
but she's kind of funny. And she has a brother who fights in one championship as well. Uh, she's fighting Elise Anderson, so I'm
Okay.
not sure who she is, but
Yeah.
anyway,
I'll have to start paying more attention to one because, admittedly, I don't watch as much as I do some of the other promotions, but if they got guys like DJ and stuff like that, like it's definitely worth paying attention to.
they got old school guys too. Like I don't know if you've ever heard of him, Roberto Soldic. He's the Croatian RoboCop. He's a fucking animal. He came up with Crow Cop. So
Okay.
yeah, so Crow Cop is like his hype man. Like there, like Chatri Sitchatong was like, dude, I had to go to lunch with with Crow Cop, and Crow Cop like pretty much felt like he was threatening me to get this guy in, that I had to watch him fight and I had to watch his skills. And he's like, he wasn't wrong though. Motherfucker's a beast. So
Oh shit.
so
Wow.
that's a welterweight MMA fight against Zabastian Kadastam. Ah fuck, dude, these names are tough. So and then Sage Northcutt, ex UFC fighter. He
Oh,
got
okay.
massively destroyed when he first, his only other fight in one championship against, I don't remember the dude's name, but he was a fucking beast, and unfortunately, he legitimately broke Sage's face in, like, 6 different places. That's how
Oh
fuck
damn.
yeah, that's how savage that dude was. But he's fighting in a lightweight MMA match against Ahmed Mujtaba. And then the only other one I wanted to talk about was RDR, Rainier de Ritter. He's one of their big up and coming, well-known names in one championship. If you're watching it, you know who RDR is. Been around for a bit, just running shit. Middleweight submission grappling fight right there against Tai Ruotolo. Uh, but yeah, that's about it for that. Like I said, mixed up stuff in that organization, and it's pretty interesting. A lot of good shit coming out from there. Those submission grappling events or matches are pretty interesting too, man. I mean, there's no striking, but it's fun to watch. Mikey Musumeci's a fucking surgeon in there. Like that dude, it's just like watching science happen. It's insane. Oh, not to
Definitely, yeah. I'll have
mention
to check that out.
he also has been training and rolling with fucking Mr. Facebook. What the fuck is his name? God damn it, I just blanked out. Facebook.
Oh, Zuckerberg?
Zuckerberg, Mark Zuckerberg. Yeah.
Oh,
Zuckerberg's like,
really?
that's like his buddy now. Yeah, Zuckerberg's way into MMA, or way
Oh,
into
wow.
jujitsu. So remember they bought out the whole Apex Center one time, and they had Zuckerberg in there, and everybody was in an uproar about the whole fucking nobody else being allowed in there and shit. I don't know if you remember that. That was
I
months
think I
back.
now that you're saying that, I do remember seeing something about that, yeah. I didn't
Yeah.
realize that he was, like, that big into it.
Yeah, big time. So Musumeci's been like training him and grappling with him and stuff. So I guess he goes to his house and gives him like, you know,
Wow.
personal fucking training. It's insane. So anyway, that's it for one. We'll get to the main event here. I know I've been going through a bunch of shit, but I still had to cover stuff. I'm like, I still had to go through. But
Oh, dude.
we got UFC 288. Thanks for hanging in there. I know we're going to, it's a little over an hour so far, but are you good?
Oh, we're good, man. Yeah,
Okay.
let's do this.
Yeah, now we got the main event, man. UFC 288. Aljamain Sterling versus Henry Cejudo. Henry Cejudo coming back from retirement to try to get that strap back. Triple C, fucking double two-weight champion and Olympic champion. So that's why he's called Triple C. Also called
Yes.
the King of Cringe because the motherfucker's cringy as hell.
Yes,
Um,
exactly. I was gonna say the self-titled
oh
Triple
god.
C.
Yeah, self-titled Triple C. I mean, he legit is a triple champ, but he makes up his own names, and then he adopted the King of Cringe because that's how cringy he is. He'll fess up to
Exactly,
that
yeah.
name. But
Yeah, these
and
are gonna be some interesting fights.
definitely. And then Belal Muhammad versus Gilbert Burns. This is pretty much a title eliminator fight because it sounds like whoever wins this gets the next shot at the title. So,
Yeah, and Burns with a really quick turnaround too. He's just coming off of the fight with Jorge Masvidal.
yep.
Obviously he didn't take too much damage in that fight, so he's pretty fresh. Still though, that's a pretty quick turnaround.
Definitely, especially to fight somebody as high level as Bilal Muhammad, who's been in the background, just winning fights, beating
Yeah,
people
and
left and right.
Muhammad, if I'm correct too, is coming off of a big knockout win, right?
I believe, yeah, against Sean Brady.
Yeah.
Yeah, which was pretty nuts because Sean Brady's a badass.
Yeah, Sean
And
Brady was on a hype train.
yep, TKO by punches in the second round. Actually, I think that's one of the gifts I actually was gonna bring up for that. So, because I remember seeing all the tattoos, Sean Brady looks like a fucking felon gang member. I don't know what else you wanna call him.
Yakuza.
Yeah, dude, Sean Brady's crazy looking, but yeah, I'm excited for this card, man. That's why I mean, I'm happy that I'll be watching it still, even though I'm not gonna have people over. Watching it on a watch party is like super focused because it's like
Yeah.
right here in my face. I don't have all these distractions. I'm just talking to people as I'm watching the fight the whole time. It's harder to get distracted and pulled away from it. So it's gonna be
Well,
fun.
Burns is one of my favorite fighters, so I'm excited to see him fight. I really like him, and he's one of the more exciting guys to watch to me. So I'm hoping that he does well in this fight, and I would love to see him get another title shot because
The
I think
only
like
no,
go
go
ahead.
ahead. No, go ahead.
Oh,
Finish.
okay. No, so I was gonna say like he's fought like a slew of these guys that are considered the best of the best right now, and he's like been right there at the point where he can get past them and beat them. He's kind of the only one that's given Kamzat a run for his money.
Yeah,
Arguably, got not the best of him because obviously Kamzat won the fight, but he was able to hang with him, able to put him down a couple times. Like he might have arguably been like a shot or two away from winning that fight.
yeah. Yeah, and a lot of people think he did win that fight. So, but he's come back and gotten 2 wins in a row against Neil Magny, who's no fucking joke at all. And then, of course, Jorge Masvidal, who a lot of people are like, yeah, well, he was on his way out anyway. But still, Masvidal, you never know. That motherfucker can come out with a flying knee out of nowhere
Exactly.
and
Yeah.
knock
He
your
just
ass
needs to
out.
touch you once, and that's it.
Yeah, and he could have derailed Burns real quick, like if he would have gotten the right strike in there at the right time. But let me ask you this: this is what I was gonna bring up. That's why I was like, no, 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 please go, please keep going because you're saying shit that matters. I'm gonna say something silly. What the fuck is wrong with Gilbert Burns' hair? Like what the fuck, dude? Mister like weird, like half Jew fro, half regular fro. Like what is that fucking hair? I
I
can't
think
stand it, dude.
he's just owning it, man.
He
That's
looks
that Brazil.
he looks like a badass when he has it a nice tight, kind of fade and like real close to the head. Like he looks dope like that. And then
Bro,
he comes out.
he's out here training, man. He ain't
Oh
got no
my
time for
god,
haircuts.
dude. What the fuck though? He comes out there against Masvidal in the face off when they did the press conference, and he's got these stupid like nut hugger overalls with a white shirt on under, and then he's got this stupid hair. I'm like, Gilbert Burns, what the fuck are you doing, bro? It
You
was
know.
I had secondhand embarrassment for him. I'm like, you're
He's
lucky you're
trying
a
to go that
badass.
that O'Malley route, bro. Don't look for him to dye that thing pink.
Dude, that leave that to the goofy little white boys because you can't pull that off. I'm fucked up, man. I couldn't help it. I was like, is anybody else seeing this? Does anybody else have a problem with this? I don't understand, man. I'm
I
like,
remember seeing the hype up for Masvidal's fight and catching him. I'm like, what are we doing here, buddy?
oh, I couldn't handle it. Anyway, I don't know if you've been watching recently, but I do. For the main card of all the events, I like to go through bottom to top and at least just kind of highlight it a little bit. I make my own little graphics here with the matchups and stuff. So I keep it short for the bottom few, and then I extend it a little bit for the top, and I'm sure we have a lot to talk about when it comes to the two main, main fights. But starting off at the bottom of the card, we got Kron Gracie coming back after like I don't know, I think a couple years off or something like that. Actually, I can look it up real quick. I don't know. Have you watched Kron Gracie fight before?
I've never watched him fight, but I'm familiar with him just off of stuff on YouTube and things like that. So I've seen him do like a couple different things here and there. Um, yeah, I have. I've never watched a fight of his though.
Yeah, I was right. I mean, he hasn't fought since 2019. I knew it was a pretty lengthy layoff, but they fed him to the dog, Cub Swanson, and yeah, he lost by decision. But if I remember right, Cub kind of pieced him up. So
Hmm.
it's been since 2019 since he's fought. So he's coming back in looking like a homeless guy. By the way, I don't know what the fuck was with his hair, but dude, his hair and they showed a picture of him like from like I don't know something that just recently, and his hair's just like all over the place and up and all messed up. Looked like he just woke up or like he's been living in the streets for a few weeks. So anyway, he's fighting Charles Jourdain, who I don't know much about this dude. He's coming off of two losses, the last one being against Nathaniel Wood, which is no joke, and the one before that coming from Shane Burgos. So yeah, I mean he hasn't had the easiest of opponents. Um and those were both in 2022, so he hasn't fought yet this year. Going up against Kron Gracie though, he better have some good submission defense because if
Absolutely.
yeah, that Gracie name is there for a reason, and he definitely embodies it. So, yeah, but Kron Gracie right here doing what he does with that tight ass choke on Alex Caceres. I think that was his last win, actually. And yeah, like I said, yep, that was his last win in 2019. So you got to watch out for that jujitsu because with the Gracie name, you
Exactly.
know
Yeah.
what you're getting. But Charles
Dude, I'd
Jourdain,
forgotten about Caceres too.
yeah, Caceres, yeah, he just fought not too long ago. I think he lost though. But Charles Jourdain, he's out there trying to be exciting, doing those flying
Mhm.
attempts and landing stuff here and there. But like I said, I don't know much from him, but he's a Canadian, and yeah, he's gonna be looking to try to stop it on the feet and keep it from getting to the ground. Gracie's
Yeah.
gonna try to get it to the ground and submit his ass. So we'll see how that one goes. The return of
Striker
Chrome
versus
Gracie.
grappler. Yep.
Yep, always when it comes to Gracie. Um, then we got Movsar Evloev versus Diego Lopes, who was initially Evloev was supposed to be fighting Bryce Mitchell, Mr. Flat Earther himself, but
Yeah, so that was something that I was going to bring up to you. So it seems like this card has kind of been plagued with losing a couple different fights, right? Because I
so
think
it's
Bryce Mitchell, he got did he? It's an undisclosed medical
injury.
reason, right? Oh,
Well,
so,
it was an injury, yeah. So
okay.
in the embedded episode, they showed him getting into like a cold plunge or a spa or something, and his fucking shoulder was all purple, and everyone was like,
Oh,
what the hell's wrong with Bryce Mitchell's shoulder?" So I guess someone else noticed something else too, like on his side or his back. I don't know. But either way, I was like, oh, that's not good. But maybe these are just these conspiracy people thinking something's always wrong. Bryce Mitchell
yeah.
brings out all the weirdos because he's Mr.
Yeah, I guess
Conspiracy
he is a
Theory.
weirdo.
Yeah. So, yeah, and then shortly after that episode came out, then they were like, yeah, undisclosed injury. He's out of the fight. Diego Lopez is taking his place in this fight. So, I mean, I don't know much about Diego Lopez. I think this is his debut in the UFC. Yes, it is. He's coming from
Okay.
Fury FC, and he did fight on Dana White's Contender Series in 2021, but he lost. So it looks like he was in Fury FC for a couple fights, and then Lux Fight League, which I've never heard of. He is on a 2-fight win streak though, uh, against Movsar Evloev, which that's a fucking
Well,
Russian
good for
name.
him. Yeah. Welcome to the show, man.
Yeah, we'll see how he does. I don't like his hair either, just to be, just to let you know about that one. Is he looks like a dumb fuck with his stupid hair. He's got that whole like sideways flowing hair over the eye thing. I'm like, bro, you have
Yeah.
a version of my last name and you got a bunch of tattoos, but from the neck up, you look like a bitch.
Yep.
So
Yeah,
anyway,
I'm at that point where I can't make too many hair jokes, so I'm just gonna go leave that alone.
Hey, I'd rather be bald than look like an
You know,
idiot with a weird fro or some stupid flowing hair in front of your eye.
life comes at you quick.
um, Movsar Evloev is dude, he's on a fucking win streak, bro. Like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 fight win streak. Last one being against Dan Ige, who's no fucking joke.
Yeah,
And
I wanna see if obviously I think he's probably going to be the favorite for this fight, but I think it's going to be interesting to see if he does do a call out or try and pick his next opponent, see where he goes from here. Because it, like you said, he is on a pretty big win streak, so it'll be interesting to see where he goes from here.
yeah, and unfortunately, all of his wins in the UFC, which are these 6 fights that he's won in a row, have all been by decision, even though he's got highlights of good strikes and whatnot. But he's got unanimous decision, split decision, unanimous, unanimous. Like, goddamn. So I'm hoping that he at least some of this means that he puts some good striking in the mix in between, and he just hasn't been able to finish somebody. But I mean, you never know. You see a bunch of decisions on somebody's record, and you start to wonder, is this going to be a boring fight or not? So, but
Hmm.
this is a picture from Diego Lopez in the
Ooh,
yeah, that's a nasty shot. It's a wonder how that dude survived that one because it looks bad. But this was from the Contender Series fight, which he lost by says technical decision. That's weird,
hmm.
but unanimous. So I don't know. That's odd. Maybe that's some Contender Series shit. I don't really watch that all the time when it's on. I just like to see who wins and who loses and what kind of hype is around it. But it looks like his other wins are by TKOs. So TKO or KO. So we'll see what this dude has for his first fight in the UFC. Moving on to the women's fight, strawweight bout, Jessica Andrade versus Xioanan. And yeah, this one should be exciting because both these girls like to strike. And we all
Yeah.
know the power behind Jessica Andrade. But Yan
Yeah, I
Xiaonan
was
is
gonna say
fast.
Andrade is probably one of my favorite of the women to watch fight. I feel like she always kind of brings it and comes with it. She's not ever really been in a boring fight from what I can remember. So, it'll be interesting to see what happens with this one.
Yeah, she's either losing in a big way or winning in a big way for the most part. So she did lose her last fight against Erin Blanchfield, though, which Erin Blanchfield is a badass. She's a big time up and comer right now. Everyone knows who Erin Blanchfield is when it comes to the women's division, and she got her by submission, of course, because Blanchfield is a good ground fighter, good wrestling and everything like that. But before that, she had 3 wins in a row against Lauren Murphy, Amanda Lemos, and Cynthia Calvillo. So, she's always fighting and winning against big names, loses against people like Valentina Shevchenko and Rose Namajunas, Weili Zhang,
Yeah.
all ex champions. So, like you said, you're gonna get something good when you see a Jessica Andrade fight. So, Yan Xiaonan though, that I don't know much about her, but the last time I watched her fight, which yeah, was against Mackenzie Dern, dude, she was like trying to rip this chick's head off because she's like throwing fast and furious strikes for sure. So, but yeah, like I said, against Mackenzie Dern, majority decision. Do you know much about her? Have you watched her fight at
Oh
all?
yeah, I don't know much about her either. I do remember watching her fight Dern, and I think she came into that fight with a point to prove because a lot of Dern has a lot of eyes on her for a lot of different reasons.
Yeah.
But yes, but yeah, I think she came into that with a point to prove, and she proved it. So, and Dern, like, for all the people that like her because she's hot and a pretty face and stuff like that, like, she's no slouch either. Like, that's a legit win. So,
Oh,
you know,
yeah, she's a Dern is a world-class jiu-jitsu practitioner with a legend of a jiu-jitsu guy in her father. So, I mean, that's the reason why a lot of people had a lot of hype around her, but it helps that she's hot as hell. And
yeah.
on top of that, she's ever since having a kid, she has become this like crazy better fighter. So,
Mhm.
I was surprised to see that she lost to Jan, but at the same time, it wasn't like it was this massive destruction of her. She still looked good and held her own. Looked good in more than one way, and yeah. But Yan Xiaonan, I mean, Marina Rodriguez and Carla Esparza were her 2 losses before, and then she had a streak of wins. Claudia Gadelia. Karolina Kowalkiewicz, and Angela Hill, all big names that she won
Yeah,
against. So a lot of decisions though. But that's all right because she seems to be pretty exciting. Let's see if she can beat that that power of Jessica Andrade because this is one of my favorite highlights of Jessica Andrade because I don't like the one of her bouncing Rose Namajunas off her head because I like Rose
yeah,
and I hated seeing that. But this is a nasty knockout of Karolina Kowalkiewicz. But then, like I said, Yan Xiaonan with these fast kicks and then just follows up with a bunch of punches. She's just quick on her feet, and if she catches you, she'll catch you good. So,
absolutely. Yep.
yeah, I mean, it should be a pretty exciting women's fight. Now let's move on to the meat of the event here. Belal Muhammad versus Mr. fucking Jufro Afro himself, Gilbert Burns. Like right here, it doesn't look too bad, but dude, that last fight, I was like, come on, man.
Yeah,
Where's your
he
pick,
just
bro?
he just needs to fade that thing up a little bit, and then he'll be back.
Yeah.
But no, yeah, this is a super interesting fight. Like I said, Gilbert Burns is he's one of my favorite fighters. I think looking at this fight, um, I think Gilbert definitely should be the favorite. Beal Muhammad coming off of like a big knockout TKO, and I want to say I've been on the show before where we've talked about uh Belal, Belal, and I'm not even sure. I
Belal.
might be butch. Belal Muhammad when he was fighting on another card as well. And I think for that one I picked against him, and he ended up winning that fight too. So he's certainly capable of winning this fight. But I mean, Gilbert is like he's got to be, by my estimation, one of the top five, if not one of the top three for the division. So it'll be a good fight for them. I'm definitely rolling with Burns on this one, but we'll see what happens.
Yeah, I like Gilbert Burns a lot, and I respect where he's at in the game right now. Um, it's not that there's something about him I don't like. It's just that he always goes up against people I like better. And it's not that
Yeah.
I like Bilal better, but I feel like a lot of people have slept on Bilal. And
Well, and
and
I think that's kind of what he's trying to do with like doing the weird hair and like stuff like that. It's like I think he knows that he doesn't necessarily have like a niche or that marketability. I think he's just a fighter, right? He's just trying to make his way fighting. And unfortunately, in this game, especially when you get to the upper echelon, you kind of have to do these things that bring eyes and stuff like that. So that might be his way of trying to do that.
yeah. Yeah, and I mean props to him, you got to do what you got to do to get the eyes on you and keep them on you whether, you're doing well or not doing well. You know, the popularity is a thing in MMA, so you got to keep it rolling. But for Bilal, like I said, I feel like he's a little slept on. He's got one, two, three, 4 fights in a row, beating people like Sean Brady, Vicente Luque, Wonderboy Thompson, Damian Maya. Before that, he had that no contest with Leon Edwards, who is the current champ, because
Yeah,
of the eye poke, if you remember that.
and
Um,
those are all quality wins. Like
definitely.
he's beaten legit guys for sure. And now, has the UFC announced for sure that this is going to be a title eliminator fight?
Yeah,
Okay, cool.
yeah. So yeah, with Gilbert Burns, he's got 2 wins in a row against Jorge Masvidal and Neil Magny. Lost to Hamza, which a lot of people didn't think he lost, but yet, I mean, he did lose by unanimous decision, but he did the most damage and made Hamza look like human for
Human,
once.
yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, I feel like Burns is definitely up there. He just seems to like kind of stumble when he gets to that very tippy top where he's about
Yeah,
to.
he's almost falling into like what Cowboy Cerrone kind of felt like. Like when the bigger moments come, he kind of fades a little bit. Like
Yeah,
maybe the pressure kind of gets to him a little bit.
right. So here's Bilal against Sean Brady. That's what the fight we were talking about earlier. Sean Brady looking like a ex-con for sure. But
He
yeah, I
actually
mean,
has some good work, man.
he does. That big samurai face on his back is pretty sick.
Yeah.
Um,
He
it all
has
seems to
sleeves by a
blend.
dude I follow on Instagram that's pretty sick.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, like the artist that did them?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, the
okay.
name escapes me from the guy, but yeah, the dude's legit.
Yeah. Sean Brady seems like a cool motherfucker though, Philly dude. And yeah, he just seems like a cool guy every time I've heard him being interviewed and stuff. So I mean, he looks pretty intimidating, but he sounds like a real down to earth guy. But unfortunately, got his
Yeah.
ass whooped here by Bilal.
Yeah.
um, but yeah, I mean, there's a striking aspect, but Bilal will take your ass down too, and try to get in those dominant positions. This is against Stephen Wonderboy Thompson, who's not much of a grappler, but he is a real big, lanky guy and has some pretty good takedown defense. Uh, but Bilal does the work and puts it on him. So but Burns is a lot of the same, with those big KOs. This was a crazy one from back in the day a little bit. I couldn't really find anything good on the Hamzat one. But this
Yeah.
looks like he barely even touched him, but he landed flush across the chin for sure and just straight dropped this fool like a rag doll. Um,
Yeah.
so
And
I
that'll be
mean,
the interesting thing about this fight, right? Because they both are very complete fighters. Like they both can do everything. So, it'll be interesting to see kind of who establishes themselves as the dominant one in this one and gets going first.
yeah, and then we'll see if Burns does any of this. A lot of times he has good takedowns and he has good grappling and jiu-jitsu, I believe. He's pretty good at jiu-jitsu as well, but it seems like people can always bait him into a slugfest. And when he gets
Yeah,
into
and
that slugfest, oh yeah, what happened? Is
I was gonna say, like, I felt like the last couple fights that Burns has had, he's definitely been content to kind of just box and throw hands more than
yeah,
anything,
yeah.
which is a shame because, like you said, he does have the takedowns, like he has the jujitsu ability, like mix it up, man.
Yeah, if
That's
I
what
think
got him to the show.
Yeah, I think if he were to stick to that a lot more often, he would find that he has more options instead of just thinking that he needs to knock somebody out. But a lot of the guys fall in love with their striking and they knock a few people out here and there and they're like, "I'm going to keep doing this. This feels way better." And it's less work in a sense and you can get stuff done quicker, but you also got to find the right shot. You got to land it and you got to keep that defense up or else
Yeah.
you get knocked out. So,
Well, I think ideally, right, you want to go in, you want to finish things early, don't avoid injuries and
least
get
amount
paid,
of
right? So,
damage. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, I mean, that's what a lot of people wanna do, but, there's those guys that like Khabib, like to take you into deep water and drown you, so and punish you, and then there's guys like that too, but I think Gilbert is just a little confused sometimes, and I think that he just needs to stick to what he's good at, mixing it up, being technical, and finding the right time to do the right things. If he sticks to that, I think he could definitely beat Bilal, but Bilal's on a fucking mission right now, so we'll see if he is, not gonna get too emotional in this fight and fight, smart and, you know, see if he comes out on top, against a big opponent like Burns, man. You can never, like, underestimate Burns for sure.
yeah,
So,
should be a good one.
yeah, I'm excited for that, and I'm excited for this main event as well. Aljamain Sterling versus Henry Cejudo. I wanna know right away, who are you going for?
So, if see, this is an interesting fight to me, right? Because if I was gonna pick right now, I'd probably roll with Cejudo. But I was gonna bring this up to you. So I saw, and for the life of me, I can't remember who put out this statistic. But the statistic went something like this. So when age is a factor in fights, and specifically fighters that are over the age of, I believe it said 35,
Yep,
they're um 2 and, like, I wanna say it was like 17 or 18 was the statistic in title fights. And the 2 wins were both
Iron Woodley.
uh yeah, Tyron Woodley, who I think was against the same guy in those fights. So yeah,
Stephen
that'll be
Wonderboy Thompson.
interesting. Yeah, it'll be.
Yeah.
Was it you that shared it? It might have been you that I saw it
I
from.
think so. I know I saw it
Okay,
multiple times, yeah,
okay. So yeah, I saw that statistic, and when I saw that, I was like, that's definitely got to be a factor for this fight, right? Because ring rust is a real factor for a lot of guys, and Cejudo kind of coming in. I don't doubt that he's in shape and that he's been training and stayed consistent, but it's like there's a difference between being in the gym and actually getting in the cage and fighting people, right?
for
So
sure.
yeah, I would probably pick Cejudo to win, but I've slept on Sterling before and he's proved me wrong. And Sterling's like riding a pretty big wave of success right now. And
Yeah.
for good reason. Like the dude's proved himself, I think, and kind of silenced some of his doubters and the haters that he had. So this will be
Yeah.
interesting, man.
Well, and that's the thing, you know, the whole illegal knee thing, him being the best actor in the world and getting the belt by getting, a disqualification. I don't give a shit about any of that because, yeah, I get it. I see what people are saying. But at the same time, if you look at the dude, he's genuine the whole time throughout the whole thing. Like, watch it back. It's like, yeah, it may have seemed a little outlandish, but motherfucker got kneed in the brain. like
Hmm.
like that was a nasty knee, and I actually have it here. I'm gonna show it in a minute. But no matter what, he broke Peter Yan. That broke Peter Yan. That his own mistake broke him, and he hasn't been the same since. So, I mean, no matter if you want to blame Aljamain for that or credit Aljamain for that, either way, Peter Yan hasn't been the same since that happened.
Hmm.
And trying to come back and get the belt back, saying that it was going to be easy, he was going to kill everybody. He hasn't done shit. He's lost twice. So unfortunately, it broke a good fighter, and we'll see if Peter Yan can recover. But Aljamain Sterling, being who he is, has he's also beaten the likes of TJ Dillashaw, who, yeah, he might have gotten his arm kind of just basically died in the middle of this fight. But
Yeah.
and now he's retired fully because of that shoulder injury or whatever. It's just so significant that they say, I mean, he'll be lucky if he can even throw some punches after he gets the surgery. Uh so I don't know. I don't think we'll ever see TJ Dillashaw again because that was pretty significant and pretty serious of an injury. But either way, Aljamain Sterling did the damn thing. He went out there, he
Yeah.
made it known that he was there to fight and took out somebody like TJ Dillashaw.
When you got to give him credit for shutting out the noise too, and like I think he responded to all that stuff in the best possible way, right? Because the way that you shut everybody up is going out and winning, and he did that.
Yep. Yeah,
All
that's all you
credit to
can
the
do.
man.
Yeah, you could talk all the shit back you want, but if unless you're gonna go in there and prove it all in the cage, none of it matters.
Yeah,
But
and in those fights since the knee, he's looked impressive. He has.
definitely. And Cejudo has to look out for this nasty fucking choke because if Aljamain gets on your back, he's gonna put this choke on you as Sandhagen. I always say Sandhagen, it drives me insane. Sandhagen. he found out the hard way. And Aljamain looked really, really good against Sandhagen. And yeah, this is something
Yeah.
that if Cejudo doesn't watch his back, it's gonna get taken and he's gonna get put in this choke.
Well, and Aljamain Sterling too is going to have a big size advantage in this fight too. He's going to be taller, longer, and that could be a big factor in here. And Sterling's a smart fighter. I totally expect him to use that to his advantage in this.
Yeah, definitely. And like we were talking about, Aljamain got that win the first time because Peter Yan got disqualified for doing this, the illegal knee, which no matter what you say, that's completely illegal. That's a nasty knee to the head while he's holding the back of his head. So no matter what people want to say about the acting and all this other bullshit, I wouldn't want to continue after that either. So what? You can just walk in there and pretend like you're okay and get knocked the fuck out for real, out cold, not wake up for a few minutes? Like, fuck that. You know how, you hit your head the wrong way and you feel all disoriented. These guys get hit all the time, but to get hit like that when you're not expecting it because your knee's on the ground, there's a rule saying you can't have that happen to you, and then it happens when you least expect it. Like, it's like a car crash. Like, that's
Yep.
fucked up. So, for people to down on him and say he's not worth having that belt, I think he's proven it enough. He came back. He got that win against Peter Yan the second time. It may not have been the most electrifying win. It may not have been a knockout or a sub, but he definitely showed he was better than Peter Yan in that fight. And Yan didn't have what it takes to get that belt back.
Absolutely. Yeah. And he responded like we were just talking about in the exact way that he should. And he did what he had to do to get a win. So all credit to the man for doing that.
Yeah, and he's defended his belt multiple times now. So now it's time to fight Triple C, Mr. King of Cringe, who also beat TJ Dillashaw decisively. And
Yep.
no matter what, King of Cringe or not, and no matter how dumb some of the shit it is that he does, he's a great fighter. He's an Olympic gold medalist and champion. He's great at wrestling. he's taken up being a great fucking coach to a lot of big fighters, and on top
Yeah.
of that, is also a great analyst. Like, he breaks down fights on his YouTube channel, like you mentioned earlier, and it's fucking really good content, and he points out a lot of great things, and it's well put together.
Yeah, he's a guy that I really have come to enjoy listening to. Like his take on things and how he analyzes things, he's a good guy to pay attention to and watch. And as far as like his antics and the King of Cringe thing, I kind of throw him into the same realm that oh my goodness, and now the name escapes me, but
Colby Covington.
yes, Colby
Ugh,
Covington.
I knew it.
I
Yeah,
throw him in the same realm as that. It's like these guys put on this front, and it's not what they are. Like, just be genuine, you know.
yeah,
They're the guys like the Connors and all that stuff that are like the flamboyant and flashy. Like, that's part of who they are.
yep.
It's legitimately who they are, And these guys, Henry Cejudo and again, I'm Colby Covington. That's
It's
not who
okay.
they
He's
are. Like,
forgettable.
yeah, yeah. Just be who you are. That's enough, man.
Yeah.
And you guys got skills. Like, you're able to win these fights. You don't have to, you know, there ain't no future in your fronting.
Right. Yeah, and just like, like you said, Conor McGregor, Nate Diaz, they are who they are inside and outside of the cage. They've proven it. Like Conor, I thought he was the fakest forever. He says sometimes, "Oh, I'm just doing it to sell the fight. I'm just doing it." But no, I mean, you catch him on a fucking Saturday night out in the club, and that motherfucker's talking shit to everybody. Dancing around, being acting a fool like he was at that BKFC event. That's who he is. Nate Diaz fighting in the streets. That's who that motherfucker is. Like,
Yep.
he's real. He talks that shit and he'll fuck you up. He's gonna put your ass to sleep in the street. That's all there is to it. So you got to be real that way. Colby Covington was about to get cut from the UFC, and then he turned into a little bitch, and he got some clout, and now he's a bigger bitch. I hate that motherfucker. I can't stand him. Now Henry Cejudo is the king of cringe. I have secondhand embarrassment for him, but he is a great fighter. I do respect him as a fighter. I respect Colby's talents as well, but I just hate him so much I can't oversee that. So, but
So now what's your pick for this fight then? Because I don't think you've made one.
I haven't. I'm gonna say you didn't actually make your pick either, fucker.
No,
Did
I
you?
said
No, you
Cejudo.
said you're going. Oh,
Yeah, I
okay,
said
damn it.
Cejudo.
I'm gonna have to go the opposite way. I think Aljamain is what Aljo's trying to do right now is he's trying to finish clearing out the division and keep he's trying to continue to defend his belt against the best. Once he's done with that, which is Cejudo first, and then Sean O'Malley. Once he's done with that, he's moving up so that Marab can get his title shot because they will not fight each other. But Marab is at that point right now. Marab Davalishvili, which I'm not sure if you know who he
Mhm.
is. Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
The Machine. He's right now. He's at the top of the division, and he could fight Eljo for the belt probably after this if he wanted to. But they're like brothers, and they don't want to fight each other. So Eljo said, "Let me beat Cejudo. O'Malley's next because O'Malley should have been before Cejudo, but Cejudo decided to come back and say he was going to get the belt back, so they let him come and do that. So he said, "Let me beat Cejudo. I'll take out O'Malley after that, and then I'll relinquish the belt and move up, so that way
Mhm.
Marab can have his time." So hopefully that's what he can do. I don't know that I want him to beat O'Malley, but at the same time, it is what it is. So that's his like trajectory right now. I would say let him do it. I would love to see Marab come up there and get that belt too because I like Marab a lot. But I'm not sure if he's going to be able to do that completely. So right now, I'm going to have to say I'm going to go for Aljamain in this fight.
Okay. Yeah, and I mean, I totally get your reasoning for picking him too. We'll see. It's gonna be
Yeah,
interesting.
yeah. I just wanted to highlight the Dominic Cruz win too, because look at I mean, he was all bloodied up and shit, but dude, he caught Cruz so hard. That was so bad. But that just goes to his fight IQ, the striking, and it's just something that Aljo has to look out for as well. But yeah, I am going for Aljamain Sterling. We'll see what
Exactly.
happens.
Yeah,
Um,
and so Hudo does have that, man. Like, I didn't touch on this before when I was talking about him, but he is like a bit of a thinking man's fighter too. So he should be coming into this with a great game plan. I'm sure that he's um analyzed Aljamain Sterling's game just like he has other people's, and I think he's going to be well prepared, even though he hasn't been as active. So
Yeah.
it'll be interesting to see how it plays out.
Yeah, it's gonna be a great fight. I think it's gonna be a great card overall. But yeah, that about wraps it up for that. And yeah, I think it's gonna be a good night of fights, and I'm excited to sit here and watch it and bullshit about it. So like I said, if you're freed up and you want to jump on, feel free to. You can jump off whenever you want to if you do jump on, but either way, we'll be watching the fights here. I always have it on so everyone can see it that's joining in with me, but the people on YouTube cannot see it because I can't show it on YouTube. I'll get, my channel shut
Yeah.
down and everything. The UFC will come after my ass. So, I won't be showing the fight, but we will be reacting live, talking about all the fights as they happen. And if you've seen any of my TikToks or if you've seen the past Watch Party podcasts, when big shit happens, we celebrate hard and we get loud. So it's always fun. And yeah, come and join us on Saturday, 7 p.m. Arizona time. As soon as the main card starts for UFC 288, the Watch Party podcast will be on. So come back to this YouTube channel and check it out.
Awesome, man. Yeah, I'll be in touch with you. Like I said, I would love to do it, and then like we were talking about when we first hopped on, man. Have me on, keep inviting me, and then I would love to do one with Clark, get him involved too,
Yeah,
and
we'll get that done.
it's all love, man. Thanks for having me on again. I
Oh, thank
appreciate
you
it.
for coming back, man. It was fun. We went kind of long, but there was a lot to talk about, and it was fun talking to you about all of it, man. So, uh, yeah, don't forget to follow all of my social media, Going Arounds Podcast everywhere. Don't forget to like and subscribe to this video and this channel, and share it with a fucking friend and help me out. Get this channel to grow a little more. As you can see, we like talking MMA and all things combat sports. So,
Yep.
come back and join us again, or me at least, next week. Next Thursday, we'll recap all these fights, go over the next week's worth of fights and whatnot. And yeah, don't forget about the Watch Party podcast on Saturday. Till then, thanks again, Patrick. I appreciate you, bro. Much love, and we'll see you next time you join us. Hopefully
Yep.
Saturday. If not, we'll get you on soon again.
Yeah. Salute, man. Thanks for
All
having
right,
me on. Thanks for inviting me. Go Suns tomorrow night, and hopefully we can get something going there. And I'm
no
happy to be
doubt.
on whenever you want me.
Hometown team, let's get it done. All right, guys, we're out of here. Peace.